sure everything's running correctly. Woohoo! There we go. Alright guys, so welcome to Just Anna, having fun today and just sketching and trying to get back into the groove. As usual, I love giving kudos to stream beats, otherwise my podcast would be absolutely just weird and boring. So, yep. So today I'm not going to do anything AstroCat related. I'm not going to play my usual video games. I just want to sketch today. There's some days that I just want to straight up sketch. I'm trying to become reacquainted with Photoshop. It has been acting like a fool recently, so I just want to create just some fun little illustration. Okay, go ahead and save that. Yep, okay, sweet. So I have the PSD. Now, for the most part, I sometimes get ideas. Some of you guys know I'm a huge plant lover. I love my plants. So it's something I think I inherited from my mom. It's gotta come from my mom because my mom was huge into gardening. She was like a self-taught, I believe it's called a horticulturist, or yeah, people that deal with plants. That was her jam. So let's go ahead. This is the sketch that I used. I did on Bristol board, just using your standard color pencil. I like to color with color pencils or just draw color pencils. I've done the black and white for a long time. It's just kind of boring. Just kind of gives it a new flair. However, when I'm ready to color, pretty much use the same techniques as using comics mode, and let's go ahead and switch to RGB. So what I did there, I went from CMYK to, RGB to grayscale to remove all the RGB values. So all I have is pure black and pure white. I'm going to Control J. I'm going to duplicate it so that way it thickens up the line. And then from here, I'm going to channels, and I'm going to select just the line art. Control Shift I to invert. D to set the default color, and that should fill out the line. Oops, it didn't do squat. Give me a second. Select item. There we go. Then Alt fill. There we go. It just didn't go the way through. And there we go. We should have our line art. Now this would allow me to create a brand new layer. Fill it up with the white color. Now clearly there's got to be some cleanup that I could do on the outside right here, so I can use the regular lasso tool. Or actually, even better, let's go ahead and do this real quick. So let me delete that. Let me turn this back on. I'm going to do Control L for levels. So remember, kids, work smarter, not harder. Where'd you go? There we go. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this out a little bit. I'm going to darken that line and clean that out a little bit. There we go. Cool beans. So now I can go back to the channels, selected, inverse selection, fill it up with black. There we go. Deselect. And now if I go down here, create a new layer, fill it with white. There we go. So that looks a lot cleaner. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go around. Okay. Obviously there's still several things that I need to clean out over here. And I'm not going to do too much cleaning. I personally love having a very good, like I like seeing sketches that have the line art on it. I've always been that way, especially now where we're like an era where everything is like digital, sterile, or an AI art case stolen. Yeah, I'm one of those people. I'm not a fan of the AI movement, mainly because I know, a lot of artists, myself, I'm an artist. I had to completely switch careers so I can make ends meet. So this is pretty much, it's the beginning of what I call what's happening in the journalism market. A lot of people don't realize, but some of the articles that they're reading, they're no longer written by people. They are written by AI. And it is extremely hard to make money as a journalist today. Very, very hard. I used to work at a TV station. A news TV station. It was already pretty hard. A lot of people don't realize that the people that go out in the streets to film the news, they're freelancers. They have to do their own editing. They have to do their own transportation. Sometimes they have to even do their own filming. They're not provided a crew. So yeah, so it's gonna go in the way of what's happening in broadcasting, at least in news broadcasting, where it's gonna cheapen out the field. People won't be able to make a living out of it. So I foresee a lot of things. So I already started seeing it with graphic design after my animation career ended. Mainly because I have to take care of family. I mean, I still regret to today leaving my industry, but family comes first, so I don't regret taking care of my parents until they pass away. Um, but I was already seeing it in journalism while I was at the studio, where a lot of these people barely made ends meet, and they were sitting there just trying to break it into like news. It's like the rejected actors that just couldn't make it in Hollywood, so they went for the local news, and it was just gut wrenching to watch. Um, but yeah, it's happening. It's happening. I already foresaw this coming. I started seeing it with graphic design. I've had a couple. I literally had a friend admit to me, they're like, "Well, I could have gone to you, but I just need a really quick, basic, down and dirty logo." So I went to a website, paid $20. It was generated, and it's very generic, and that's what they use for their business. And at the end of the day, I remember my earlier career. This is like back in the early like 2000s. Our biggest competitor was like Elance. You would see people in Elance demanding transformer level quality models, and they wanted to only pay $50 for the models. And I was like, do you have any idea how much work it goes into generating a 3D model? Especially like they wanted like the Michael Bay level transformers. And I'm like, and of course, the Americans couldn't compete. We had a lot of people from overseas, like Singapore, where like 50 USD went like a long way. But for an American, man, that's not even a utility bill. Um, Maybe a water bill, maybe part of a cell phone bill, depending how many people you got in your plan, maybe. Um, but yeah. Let's go ahead. Alright, and what I'm doing right here, I'm just doing a little bit of cleaning. Nothing too crazy. Okay, and have you ever seen these cactuses? I'm in Texas right now, so I've been really enjoying the array of like different succulents that I've encountered, which it's been awesome. Now from here, what I want to do is I want to keep the line art, but I really want to do a just some color. Normally when I do like these type of stickers, I really like to leave it like black and white, but a friend of mine suggested that I should try colors, so I did. Alright, so let's go ahead and normally I do traditional watercolor, but this might go into print media. So I want to make sure that I get something that is easy, and I want to change the colors at the top of the cactus here. So that's the other reason why I don't want to do um, too much with traditional in this case. Now I'm going to use the brush tool. Let me go right here. Now for here, F5 opens your brush options. I want to do a dual brush. Okay, so I want to do that. Mainly dual colors, what I want to do. Color dynamics, that's what I want. Okay, and then for this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick a green and a darkish green. And if things work out well, come on, you should be able to give me the dual. F5, F5. Smoothing. Foreground jitters. Let me see. Not quite what I wanted. But it kind of gives it a pretty interesting. And this is what I love about digital. You could just like mess with it, and it gives you such interesting textures. And I'm not looking to make something that looks like super clean or sterile. I want to give it like a really nice, like I said, I'm a big fan of like the raw look. And I wanted to feel like I'm actually painting. I've recently gotten a lot back into like painting. So as some of you guys know, I'm originally a traditionally trained artist. Um, I've been drawing since I was 5 years old. I'm currently 41. I'm going to be 42 this year. and I have been drawing for the majority of my life. My mother was the artist in my family. She's the one that loved the flowers and everything. And yeah, this was her passion. She just loved art, and she always encouraged me to follow my artwork. Now, the type of artwork my mom liked and the type of artwork that I like, we always kind of butted head a little bit when I was younger. My mom grew up very religious, so in her idea, drawing was everything that's like, super like Jesus and preaching and stuff. So we butted heads a little bit. But my mom was technically my first art inspiration. She grew up, she was a child of depression. My mom had me old, like both my parents did. And my the only thing my mom could do, because was at the time, because again they had me really old. It was in the time period where you could be a nurse, a teacher, or a secretary, or stay-at-home mom. So my mom, even though we didn't agree on the type of art I should do, she always encouraged it. That was her thing. She just wanted to make sure that I got the opportunities that she didn't, and boy, did I make good on that promise. And even though towards the end, like, my mom didn't understand my art, right before she passed away, my mom passed away in 2017. Rest in peace. She was having a hard time. She had dementia, and it was crazy because she hated my comic book, and I'm on her things when after she lost her mind, that I found in her stuff was my comic book. It was her Bible and my comic book, and it was a very emotional moment for me, because imagine thinking that your mom hated your art, and at the end when she has lost her mind, that's like one of the few items that she held on to as I was paying out the nursing home. So I'm making sure, after she passed away, that I'm making art, even though I'm not fully in my industry anymore. I don't want to forget the stuff that I learned from her, and how she inspired me to draw as a kid. Yeah. Not to be a downer. I'm trying not to be a downer. I'm sorry, guys. Just so you guys know a little bit more about me. Yeah, my mom was, even right before the dementia took over, my mom was a pretty awesome person. She loved to sing. She loved to paint. She loved gardening. She was a crazy. She was a crazy lady towards the end. I can't even deny that. But she was a good person. It's just like, unfortunately, dementia is it's a different disease. It's hard to describe it. But at least today, and not to say that, luckily, because there's nothing lucky about getting dementia, but a lot more people are experiencing it in their own family. So it's not like there's more people that understand what you're going through, as you're seeing your loved ones going through these very difficult and unique times. So hopefully now they'll be investing more in a cure. And that was the problem. Now that people are living longer, it seems to be a more predominant problem. So I'm hoping that with time we'll be able to find a cure. So at least that's what I'm hoping for. Okay, so far I think this is a little too bright. I really wanted the dual brush, and for whatever reason, it's not giving me. There's the texture, dual brush, color dynamics, brighter jitter. Let me see. There we go. There's the dual tone. Oh, but it's not as cool as I thought it was. Okay, so let's do that. Drop it, add. Not a fan of that either. Not digging it. And it's the fun part about this. Sometimes you don't get what you want, so you just gotta keep messing with it. Let me see. Nope, that is not a good brush. What you doing, baby? I see you down there. That's an interesting brush. Okay, so it's more like a leaf brush. I do like the texture though that it provides though. That's kind of interesting. Like I said, right now I'm just trying to experiment with this. And this is why you paint in layers. It seems kind of dull though. There we go. I kind of like that nice rough. Kind of like pastel-y. You ever seen like these little cactuses? They have a pretty unique texture to them. Just clean out the edges. I said today I'm just having fun. Sometimes I need a break from the game or the streaming, and it's okay. It's okay to do that. Start this as the base. There we go. Cool. My love for flowers. I've always liked flowers, but I didn't have the green thumb like my mother did. My mother was really good with flowers. Like she used to grow orchids out in the garden, and she would start like putting nails through them so they could start picking up like different colors. I've always been fascinated by nature. I've always had since I was a kid. Unfortunately, you know, living in an island, there's only so much nature you can encounter because whatever's not developed, it's pretty much you have to go to the mountains to see certain things. And I come from Puerto Rico. It is a very tiny island with a lot of people. And sadly, when I was growing up there in the 80s and 90s, the environment it was not a very important priority for people, and we ended up getting a lot of influx of people from the main states, and they were destroying the island with a lot of trash, and the infrastructure wasn't there, and so it made me sad growing up, seeing our beaches getting destroyed and everything getting trashed, and the politics back home are complicated, so it's kind of hard to explain to somebody how messed up it can be sometimes. Yeah. So, but luckily, you know, they finally got their act together. A lot of the Puerto Rico that people see today is not the Puerto Rico that most, like, Puerto Ricans, like I said, I'm 41. Is nowhere near what it was back in the day. There you go. I'm gonna keep this brush because I kind of like it. At least for right now. I said, can I give this a really slick look? Absolutely. Do I want to? Nope. However, for these edges, I will have to change to something a little smoother. And I'll show you why. Okay, so that takes care of that right there. Okay, so that gives me the base. Now let's see what's actually going on in here. So if I go over here, select a different color. There we go. So this is what I'm looking for. You see all the little holes and stuff down in there? If I kept it white, it would have been very difficult for me to see that. Oops. Yeah, but I've been pretty content recently. I've been painting, like painting. I need to get back into street painting, like competition, chalk festival level stuff, but I'm a little older right now. My body's a little bit more beat up. I'm gonna see if I can find. I know my friends that do street painting, they do it on these like giant boards. I'm gonna see if I can start doing those and maybe start displaying it in my friend's shop, just to kind of get some traffic coming in to help him out. Um, yeah, I met a really cool person here in San Antonio. I met quite a few of them in the arts, and one of them is giving me a chance to pretty much showcase my artwork at a shop. So I want to make sure I try to support his business as best as I can. And it's terrible because I'm so bad with names. I have the name right here. Let's see. Nope. Nope. That's not it. Nope. That's not it. That's not it. There we go. It's called Elote Creek Studio. They're based out of the Blue Star Art Center here in San Antonio, and the gentleman's really nice. So if you get a chance, if you're in San Antonio, please drop him a line, or stop by, check out his shop. It's a really beautiful complex. His shop is really neat. It's got a lot of little like everything from like handmade clothing, handmade jewelry. So if you're like me, I don't really care for buying a lot of like I have a lot of girlfriends that they love to buy like a lot of storage and the mass produced stuff, I'm not a fan of shopping to begin with. And then now we're getting to the mass produced stuff. It just feels, most of the mass produced stuff right now, to be honest, is just ugly as sin, in my opinion. Yes, I'm gonna burn this a little bit. There we go. There we go. Cool. That gives me that edge. All right. So right here, let's figure out what we want to do here. Okay. So I have a couple options here. I like the stand here, but I want to make this just a little bit darker. And this can actually even be even darker. And I can go in here and clear some of this out. Not a fan of that. I want to keep that right there. I don't know why. I just really like the pencil art. I just do. I like it. Sue me. And this brush is kind of interesting. It's got a really watercolor-ish look to it. Because this brush right here is the what is called mixed brush tool, where you're like mixing, so it feels like you're actually painting. Okay, so let's go ahead and clear that out. And like I said, I'll be hopping back into some more AstroCat stuff here. Like I said, we're pretty much starting the New Year's, getting my affairs in order, like goal setting. Not really much goal setting, just kind of addressing a couple things that I really need to tackle. I'm an adult now, so I got adult responsibilities. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing the next couple of days. Why I'm trying to start in a pretty good step, a pretty good mood. Trying to do more art. There we go. Okay, so this is part 1. I do want to make sure. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, but I'm still getting used to Texas. Texas is truly a unique state. And unique state. Okay, I'm going to duplicate this line art for a moment. And then I'm going to merge it down. Okay, I like that. So here's what I'm gonna do right here down the line. Okay, so I have a couple options here. Let me delete this. Okay, so this area right here is a little darker. Now, for this piece right here, I'm going to do it on its own separate from the actual cacti itself because I want to do this in 3 colors. So right now I'm going to call this is the base, this is the top. And for right now, I am going to start. So these come in 3 colors. They're actually pretty unique. You have them in yellow, red, and you got it in pink. It's the ones that I've seen here while I've been in Texas. And it's a really vibrant, like, pink. It's really hard to describe, but it is vibrant. Like, it looks like Barbie pink. Like, people would not believe me if I would show them this, but it's legit. It's a very pink cactus top. I cannot wait to see it bloom. I think it'll be super dope. And then let's go fill that up. Boop. Let's do that right there. Also, I started watching The Blue Exorcist. So far, so good. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. It's pretty interesting. I finished watching Soul Eater. It was good. I liked it. At least what I saw. I know what you're gonna say. The manga is better than the anime. But you know what? It's true. It's always true. It's kind of like the books are always better than the TV show. However, the reality is that I am a very busy person. I only have so many hours in my day, so I don't have the luxury to sit there to read thousands of pages of manga like I used to. I mean, the fact that I get time to exercise, I make time to exercise and I make time to exercise and even keep up with the animes that are coming out. It's a lot. While I still do my art, by the way, keep that in mind. I know a lot of people that my age that they wish they even had a fraction of the time that I make for my stuff. But I'm a big micromanager when it comes to my personal stuff. I try to make sure I try to stay focused and balance my day as best as I can. And I still go to bed at 8:30. Granted, my day starts at 4:30, but you know, have to make it to the gym. And if you're gonna make it to the gym early enough, you just won't get a chance to lift any, especially now, all the New Year's resolution crap is starting. You gotta get there early. You won't be able to work out at all. Like I said, I'm not going for something super clean. As for the Astro Cats, we're almost done with putting together the webpage. I'm just down to a few more things. So we'll see how that goes. We have, hopefully things work out this year. We got some pretty big plans coming down the line. So we'll see. Crossing my fingers. I'm trying not to say too much because, you know, I don't want to jinx myself or overpromise. I've noticed in life, anytime you say, I'm going to do something, and then you don't go through, then you disappoint yourself. I was listening to this great podcast the other day that is called It Sucks to Make Goals. It actually cracked me up pretty good because the guy had a point. He was saying that, you know, people make these grand goals and they announce it, and then when they don't follow through with the goals, they end up getting punished for not following through. Versus if someone kind of has an idea of how to improve themselves and they go from there, then it's a little different. So I just thought that was an interesting point of view, and it's true. I've tried to make goals, and I disappointed myself when I did not reach those goals, and so I'm at the point right now where I'm just trying to do the best that I can, and I think that's the best way to live these days, because you know life is already hard, and as long as you're moving or you're inching closer to what you intend to achieve, that should be enough, you know. And I know for some people that's really hard to swallow or to accept, but you know, chill out. Life's too short, man. Not to sound like a hippie, but it's true. Life is too short. And I know I've lost quite a few friends the last couple years, and I'm only like 40, 41. I had to think about that for a moment because I'm trying to draw, listen to music, and talk at the same time. Yes, I did had a brain fart. Yes, you caught it on video. Yes, you can laugh about it later. And yes, you're not gonna hurt my feelings. It's fucking funny. Okay, cool. So now we got this, and I am going to... Oops. Let's just go with a regular brush. Should be, helps you cycle between your brushes. Let's go for a regular brush, please. Let's go 100%. Yes, you are hearing dubstep as I'm painting flowers. They totally go together. Oh no. Okay, cool beans. That's coming out pretty nice. I like that. I might have to go back over some of these little dots, but I'm cool with that. Okay, let's go ahead and give this some highlights. Let's pick a different brush. And let's go ahead and not a fan how that's looking. Go. Okay, so I'm trying to keep track of where the light source is coming. It's mainly coming from this direction, and I'm trying to keep track of these planes as best as I can. Some of these are gonna fumble out, and you know what? That's fine. Okay, so that's pretty much what I got so far. Not too bad. Okay, now this is where this is gonna get tricky. So I'm gonna have to grab this line art here, Control J, Control E to merge down, so that way I duplicate it to make the line a little thicker. And I'm gonna Control J one more time, but that is so I can split this between the upper half and the lower half. So watch this. I'm gonna go over here. Actually, I can just mask for the time being. Oh, I usually try to not be destructive as I'm in the process of as I'm painting, because I never know when I need to backtrack or recover something. So I usually like to use mask. So there we go. Let's go ahead and fill that up with black. Poof, gone. Fill layer. Okay, so this is what I really want to do. I want to go over here. I want to grab this and I want to color just the line art. So right now we have some really nice tones here. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to darken this tone just to give it a nice green. Go. And don't worry if you're trying this technique, and sometimes you have to try a couple times. Sometimes the lighter lights, the lighter lines work better. Sometimes the darker lights work better. Just depends what you're doing. Just make sure that you have enough contrast so that way your users can see what you're going for. See, not enough contrast. That looks terrible. There we go. That's what we're talking about. grab these colors. There we go. Cool. Okay, cool. So I like that. Okay, now let's head over here. And let's, ooh, excuse me. I'm so nasty. I'm so sorry. Alright, so let's head over here. And I want to give this like a nice handwritten, like, think of like old school pirate paper. Yard. And I'm simply just coloring over that line art. And believe it or not, guys, I used to draw a hell of a lot faster. I said back in the day we had crazy deadlines and a lot of work to get done. So you get accustomed to working at an alarming fast pace, or what people consider in just outrageous speed or ludicrous speed. There we go, ludicrous speed. You learn all kinds of tips and tricks, how to move faster in your workflow. And you know, back when I used to do storyboards, we had to do sometimes like up to like 300 boards per day. It just depends on the scene, because a lot of the scenes is just like one head, two heads, but that's a little easier. You know, back in the day we had to like scan everything. Now everything's like digital, and then you can like replicate the image. I was talking like the days where we did everything but like paper and pencil. So yeah, so technology has come a long way, and production is definitely expedited and it's become a lot more cost efficient. There you go. Go right there. Okay. So let's select this. I want to do a little bit of burn. No. But I want to use a different brush. Not a fan of that. Not digging that either. Ugh, hate it when I do this. I should have done like a basic mask. It's fine though. Trying to give this like a little bit of a streak. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Alright, so from here, let's go ahead and just go a little lighter on the edges. Like I said, and I want to kind of give this, like, it's a really nice, like, this is going to probably end up looking a sticker. So I'm not going too crazy, but I kind of want to give it that look like I went and I used pastels over it. Hey, what's up, Gun Bunny? What's going on? So, and then right there is going to be the cactus, and that's going to be the top. Now this one I have to do inverse selection. So instead of me having to go back to this process, I'm simply going to select this. Going to go over here, Control-Shift-I, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mask this, do a quick mask. So the only thing that remains is the top cacti right here, and this I'm going to lock over here. Okay. So how was your holiday? You had a good holiday, dude? Please say hi to Mom. I know, just in case you're wondering, I did not have a wild and crazy holiday. It was just same old, you know, boring. Okay, now let's head over here. Now this is why I don't erase. I pretty much just try to go over here and then try to mask. So I probably need to add a little bit of a mask here. Lots of rest, good. You need the rest. Glad you got some rest, dude. You really need that. let's go ahead and go ahead and do this. Okay, so I might have to work on this a little bit. This doesn't look very pretty. That's okay. So right here, I'm going to turn this off, and then I'm simply gonna go ahead. I'm gonna temporarily turn this off. That's the mask, and I'm gonna borrow this. Oh, it won't let me. That's right. It's kind of darkening the lines a little bit. No fireworks sounding of near me for the first time. Wow. Yeah, no, dude, here in Texas, like, I know people love to celebrate holidays. It was surreal. Just fireworks as far as the eye could see to across the horizon line. A couple of my friends try to warn me that Texas, like, they love their holidays, and they're not joking. Folks go big on Christmas. They go big on you name it. They go big on it. And then the fireworks was a little crazy because I'm sitting there. A friend of mine invited me to her family farm, and you know we set our fireworks, but at the same time that we did, the whole skyline just burst into flames. Like it was crazy how many fireworks. I just felt like I was back at like in Orlando, watching the old professional the professional fireworks from SeaWorld. That's pretty much what it felt like. It was just crazy. Just a lot of stuff in the sky. Just yeah. Alright, so this is looking okay. Just clean this up a little bit, and that's fine. Why are you only at 90%? Like, what the hell? You should be at 100% flow. There we go. Hate it when it does that. So some of these brushes will have, like, pre-settings, and they carry over, and it's okay to an extent, but sometimes I want 100%, I want 100%. There we go. Cool to the beans. Okay, so for this cactus, I am gonna go ahead, since we are having this color. Let me try this tone. And again, the best part is it only affects this layer. Oops. Get the brush bigger. I think maybe it can go a little bit darker. A little too dark. Kind of like that because it's like a nice, crazy, like pinkish color. So then I'm glad I'm not in Texas. I'll be flopping. Yeah, no, you would have. Actually, this is the first thing that popped into my head. I was kind of glad that you were not near the state because it's just you couldn't escape it for 45 minutes. And I was out in the country, like out where there was little light pollution, and you could see literally the entire skyline all the way across, just nothing but fireworks. It was insane. So yeah, you would have not done very well. You would have lost your shit. So, well, I'm glad you had a really good New Year's. Like I said, nothing exciting going on over here, and that's the way I want to keep it. Yeah, that looks hideous. I don't want to do that. Kind of like just leaving it like that. Yeah, I kind of like that. Okay, cool. So from here, I do want to do one more thing. So this is the burn. Yeah, let's go ahead and do the dodge. No, not digging that. Okay, so probably for here, what I'm gonna do is this lower half, I'm gonna revert it back to the pink. There we go. That looks a lot better. Sometimes it's like trial and error, you know, trying to figure out what your lighting is. Oops. Nope, not right there. Maybe like a mid-tone in between. There we go, like a nice in-between mid-tone. Alright, cool, that works out pretty good. And then here, because the problem is you have your main light source here, and remember this is a sphere, so the light is kind of curving along the surface, but then this is also got these little ridges on it. So this is gonna get hit by direct light, this is gonna get hit by direct light, partially direct light, and then right around here starts curving off. So it won't be getting the same amount of light over here. And the good part is once I do this, I won't need to go too crazy with some of the other parts of this. Be a little darker. Sure. Let's leave it that way. Okay. So let's go ahead and borrow this color again. And sometimes I gotta like go over some of the stuff that I already fixed, but you know what? It's fine. It's completely fine. Have you been playing any good games recently? I saw you were playing League of Legends the other day. I'm still struggling with the last few games I've been playing. I don't know, is it because I'm just getting burned out on them, but I'm almost done with Moonlighter. It's a good game. I just want to finish it so I can move on to something else, and I gotta finish Killer with Fire. There we go. Cool. Any reports of done Texans and fireworks? No, so far I haven't seen anything, but I also don't watch a lot of local news. So I'm gonna say nay for the time being. But I'm pretty sure there's some pretty stupid news. It never fails every year. There's always somebody doing silly stuff. You know how that goes. Okay, so I think I like that how it is. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave that alone. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this part. I'm gonna group them and I'm gonna call this head. Okay, so now this is gonna be head pink. Okay, so this is where this gets kind of fun. So I'm gonna Control J this, and then this is gonna be red. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna select both the color. Oh, that's gonna be hard. Okay, shoot. Okay, so what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to apply the mask to this. Apply, yes. Okay, so this allows me to select both that and the line art, and then I'm gonna create an adjustment layer right on top of it. And the adjustment layer would allow me to do quick changes to the tone. That's saturation. I need the master. There we go. So now we have a nice, beautiful red. Which is okay, that's the ruby red, which is fine. And then once we have that, let's go ahead and duplicate this. And the next one's gonna be light orange. It's like a yellow orange. So yellow, orange. Okay, and we're gonna repeat the same process, but let's go ahead and go to the slider. Now that looks like corn. This looks like a beautiful GIF art. It's I've been designing stuff recently. This might become a sticker, believe it or not. I'm getting back to like my creative stuff. I finally got my creative juices back, which is I've been meaning to get back into it. I run a really nice bright orange. Yeah, it's kind of hard to describe what these cactuses look like. Let me find you the photos. And yes, I can actually show you these photos because they're from my phone and I own them. So I will not get the copyright issue on that. They're mine. And this is based pictures off from my plants. Let me find this photo. Get on my face. Get on my face. Here. Okay, where are you? Yeah, here they are. Here's a single one. I have a photo with I have all three of them. There we go. So this is what they look like. And I kid you not, that is the actual color. Oops, no, not that. That is the actual color of these cactus. This is very vibrant and very... it's kind of hard to describe, but I love them. This is like some of my flower reference pictures. You can see it's a very vibrant pink, a vibrant red, and then there's a vibrant orange as well. The orange, and I use these for my references for my painting, and there's the orange. You can see it's mainly yellow, and it's got like a couple of streaks of like orange on it. Yeah, dude, go ahead, lurk around. I know you got other stuff to do. I know you're a busy man doing busy things in busy places. You ain't gonna hurt my feelings. How dare you do adult things, you know? Okay, so for this one, I'm probably gonna go more like the yellowish, and then I have to go in here, select the shape, and I'm gonna have to like airbrush a little bit of this orange. Nope. Give me a color. And now we're in like a really vibrant orange. What the? Ah! What just happened? Oh, duh, Anna. What the hell? So this is gonna be interesting. Okay, so let me do this first. Do a soft. Drop this to. It's not working out. Sometimes that does happen. You have an idea in your head and you just can't. You're having a hard time nailing it down. And it's okay. Why not to worry about the details? Okay, so now they have that. It's kind of a pretty interesting look right there with the color dodge. So let's modify this a little bit. Yeah, I kind of like this. One of those little happy accidents, you know? take a look at that. That looks like glowing corn. But you ever see the cactus? It looks like this crazy little glowing corn. Which I did. I just showed you guys. So you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So I like that, but... There you go. That right there's getting a little closer. Yes. So let's leave that right there. So that gives me the orange. But I need to get that look also to these guys over here. So what I could do is, instead of me duplicating this effort, hold this glue. I'm going to duplicate this. Man, that cacti, it is radioactive, my friend. No, please hold. Okay, so it might not work the same. Darker color. Darker, linear, darker. Okay, first of all, let's turn this back to normal. And then what I'm going to do is Control U. And this I'm actually going to affect the layer directly. There we go. So it's a reddish color. There we go. Screen dodge. And sometimes the effects don't work for everything, so you gotta keep that in mind as well. And I'm gonna drop the opacity on this. It's with and without. So I kinda like it like that for the red. So that's the orange. That's the red. And then let's go back down to the pink. Now the pink right here, I need to make sure side adjustment layer. I guess that's as pink as I can make it, but you can't increase that saturation and make it like ridiculously pink. Because again, you also gotta keep in mind this is gonna go into, if it goes into print, some of the glow is gonna go away. So it kind of works out anyway. I'm gonna borrow this glow from over here. And I'm gonna use over here in the pink. Turn this off. Oh. What layer are you on? What the? Yeah, I got into the mask, so that's why I did that right there. Doop. Okay, so this is... I just realized that's the problem I was having over here with this red. because I had it in the wrong layer. So let's turn this off real quick. Let's turn this back on. There we go. Kind of has that more of that glowy look to it. I like that a little bit better. Okay, let's go ahead and turn this back on. And the crazy part about these little cactus is that they look like they have like this little weird iridescent look to them when you really look at them. So I kind of want to capture that in these like super glowy look to it. So let's go ahead and now switch this. Instead of a blue, let's do a fill of white. So we can take a look at this. So far that it is with the pink. That is with the red, that doesn't look too bad, and that is with the orange. So pretty much covers all three of the cactus. So I like that. I like the term "I'll prick you." Now there's a few more that I will be doing. Like I said, I'm just kind of taking my time with these. So that's gonna be cool, and that's pretty much what I'm doing tonight. So, but yeah, no, I just kind of trying to change the pace. Like I said, I didn't want to do Astro Cats, and I didn't want to game tonight in front of a camera. I tried yesterday, and I messed it up so badly. I just stopped playing. I went back to my couch, and I just kept working on my comic book. Sometimes that will happen. You know, you just mess things up so bad. You're like, why did I do that? I was doing so good, and I just messed it up. So, especially this last round when I'm trying to make it to like round 8. You have to start F4 and slowly make your way through the dungeon all the way through 4 levels without dying, exhausting your resources. I'm just like, you know what? I want to go into this fresh, not angry or upset, because the problem is, it's not that it's bad, it's just it's time consuming. And where I messed up was, I went into the boss not paying attention to my potions, and it's one of those bosses that if I would have stayed, it would have killed me. So I had to bail. I was so pissed. But it happens, you know. It's you know, you live and you learn. So now next time I'll be a little bit more careful with that. But with that, guys, I'm going to bounce off for the night. I got to work on a couple other things. Like I said, I'm making sure I'm going to bed at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. Cut down the caffeine, try to do the low carb thing again. I got a lot of muscle, but there's still a lot of fat there. I'm 40 now, 41, so I'm having the problem where, yeah, I have the muscle, but the fat ain't going nowhere. I gotta love it. Gotta love it. But anyway, guys, you have a good night. Gun Bunny, you know, it's always a pleasure. I'm hoping to plan a trip sometime next year to go back up to North Carolina. It's not North Carolina or Florida. I need to do one or the other. I just gotta see how this next year goes. I'm starting the New Year's with like a pretty big drawback. I have to do a really huge repair in my house that is not going to be cheap, nor is it covered by insurance because Texas. Fuck the state. I can't stand this state. God, so bad. Yeah, I shouldn't say that out loud, but I'm admitted to it. It's like Florida's cousin. Like, I've encountered some really strange stuff in the state, so yeah. But anyway, you guys have a good night, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.